That's what people like to listen to.
They
Just
like that
casual, just like.
When I was in
conversation.
college, I was paying $50
Yeah.
a cut. Now
I mean,
it's $110 at the dispensary.
I was-
Outrageous.
I was just thinking about that today when we were riding home because we were listening to Ari Shafir,
Oh yeah.
and my favorite parts about his podcast, which he thinks nobody likes, is the
Banter.
inside baseball stuff
Oh,
where they
okay,
just talk
yeah.
like comedians talking about like
Yeah.
what comedian life. That's my favorite part because that's the side I don't see, and they are so comfortable talking about it. The conversation is so like fluid, and it's my most enjoyable part about his entire podcast.
I hate sometimes when they turn athletes into sportscasters and things like that because I just feel like it's one of those things that, like, do they really need this like other big paying job after they were an athlete forever? But I like when they do talk about things that you normally wouldn't hear from
I don't know
someone who didn't play the game.
How did you
so-
transition from what Craig said to that?
He's talking about somebody who's a professional in an aspect, and then they go into talk about it and how like when you put Tom Brady as the
They haven't signed
the
Fox.
sportscaster,
They
right?
already signed him.
So the thing people think like, oh, he's
Sure.
just a football player. How's he going to talk on
yeah.
air? But he has a different angle he can talk about,
Right.
is what he's saying.
Right.
Than
Well, I
like,
guess
the average
Craig
person.
picked up on it.
I consider going from a player to a sportscaster or different from a player to a podcaster.
Player
I
to a
call it all
podcaster.
really the
if
same
if
at
they're
this
talking
point,
about if you're a
but-
football player and you're talking about football,
yeah.
because
Yeah, you get that inside football, kind of like the inside baseball, like you're talking with comedians.
Yeah,
It's when you
and-
have two
but the-
football players sitting down.
the conversation will be just so like natural to them. When you're talking about something that isn't like something you do all the time, the conversation isn't as natural.
Yeah.
When you start interviewing somebody about something you're not even interested in.
But I thought, are we talking commentating games like punditry?
Yeah, he's
Or are you
talking.
talking-
Well, he's kind of talking
Yeah,
punditry.
Yeah,
because
kind
that
of.
to me that makes sense. Is if a lot of times you're a player, you only play till 30. It's like you're just not supposed to make money for the rest of your life.
No, I'm
If-
not
if
saying
Troy
you shouldn't
Aikman
make
can go
money.
and,
I
like-
mean, Tom Brady's going to get paid
And
ridiculous
I
sums of money.
can't imagine it.
He's the
I'm
perfect
trying to imagine
example
Tom
for what
Brady.
I'm trying to say.
Tom Brady
because-
doing color for a football game.
I mean, now the football players can all
He's
just
in
make
the playoffs.
podcasts and make money for the rest of their life.
Yeah,
Well,
They
yeah.
literally could just have
That,
conversations.
and that's what I was getting to. Is that kind of like listening to like more Pat McAfee or Barstool, where you have players talking
Yeah.
to players or fans talking to players.
I
'Cause
think
you get
it's-
different.
the thing I don't like about Pat McAfee's show is how
It's long.
it's so set up. It's not just like if those dudes were all just sitting around a table talking about what happened this weekend in sports, I think I would like the show better. I don't hate the show, but it's not like
He was a punter.
Kind of.
yeah, he was a punter.
He was a
For-
punter. See, I do feel like I hate to say
field
like
goals too for a little bit.
I hate to say like the lower positions, but like maybe that's somebody that wasn't an everyday starter. They seem to be better commentators or like sportscasters. It seems like because
Well, they also end up going into those roles more often
Backup
because they
quarterbacks.
still need the money.
yeah, well, but then they still were around the game and like obsessed with
Well,
it
how do
and
you
like
like-
know a lot about it.
How do you like
so-
Pat on the morning shows with Lee Corso?
Still feel like he doesn't fit, but that could just be that I'm
It's
not
an
used
odd
to him
look.
being
It's
there.
him next to Lee Corso
Yeah.
is a very odd two people seeing.
Yeah,
What's the
I
show?
do think
Each other.
what he is though is he is the future of that.
Yeah, and I
he's
like
gonna
his
be there. We
commentary.
got to get used to
Yeah.
it,
What's
and
the
he is
show?
entertaining.
What's
Yeah.
the show?
College Game Day.
Yeah,
Oh,
college
okay.
game. They were
Pat McAfee's on that.
They put the
Yeah,
hat on.
this year
yeah.
he got signed on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
He had to give up doing
Nice.
WWE because of it. I think.
Oh yeah, he's
Okay.
WWE.
Yeah.
He's on Mark Madden every now and again. That's where I've heard him. He'll interview him on Mark Madden.
Yeah.
Well, he does his own
So-
show on YouTube every day.
Does he?
3
Yeah.
hours a day, and that's where it's kind of that's what Craig. I think you're
Yeah.
getting at. It's a little more like old school radio, like the way it's set up.
Yeah.
It's
Set
kind of
up.
like a '90s.
His setup, he's almost acting like he's on ESPN, but not. You
you
remember
guys
how
have-
ESPN would do the radio shows, but have them videotaped, and they were kind of
Yeah.
set up, but not
Okay.
too much.
Yeah, I remember
His show's
that.
kind
Yeah,
of like that,
okay.
and
Those
I
old
never
shows.
really enjoyed that.
Okay, yeah, and that's kind of what I was getting at. It kind of gives
Yeah.
that vibe from like Mike and Mike in the morning.
Yeah, Mike
Yeah.
in the morning.
That
yeah.
kind of vibe. Which I just don't have time
Mark
to get
Ma-
the 3
Mark
hours. I
Madden
like when
has
they
a-
clip it.
You guys ever listen to Mark Madden? Probably not.
I have listened to him, but
Yeah.
not
More
like
likely to
regularly.
read him than listen to him.
Yeah, well, he does a column too, which I
Yeah.
think is smart because I also think you need to do everything. You got to like write, talk, do it all. But he has like a structured show
He's
that's
trolling the
conversational.
Steelers hard.
Well, that's his personality. That's the thing he plays.
What's
He's like
he
a
doing?
Stephen Colbert.
He's
type.
trolling the Steelers hard.
But what's he doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Because they have
specifically?
a quarterback now that kind of looks to me like Tommy Maddox. They want like the
Here, I'll pick it.
Pickett. What he's gonna do it? Pickett.
He looks like Tommy Maddox to you?
To me, like
You mean his playing style or like how he looks on the field?
how,
Tommy
how
Maddox
the
was a-
game feels.
he was
when
a
he's doing
straight
it quarterbacks.
gunslinger.
Okay,
though.
okay.
Tommy Maddox was a straight gunslinger.
I was an anti-Steeler fan back when Tommy Maddox was the quarterback. So because I was always a Buffalo fan growing up, and it's like they always lose, the Steelers always win. It's like an envious kind of thing.
Yeah.
When Tommy Maddox was in, I always knew he had a chance to throw a pick. Like against Jacksonville, you never know at the last minute. He just
Tommy-
threw a random pick six.
From what I was young when we were young. when
Tommy gun.
Maddox.
Yeah, we're like middle
But
school,
I
middle
can
school.
remember him, but I feel like he was being pushed into that role. Like they wanted him to be,
But he wasn't
the
it.
next big thing. But he wasn't it. He wasn't the
it.
fit.
And as it looks like Pickett, he's good enough to be a starter. Would be a very good backup.
They're trying to force
Is he going to
Pickett
win a
because
playoff
he's
game?
from Pitt.
He's from Pitt, and they playing the Dan Marino thing.
Yeah, they're
like the
trying to
last
play
time.
like, oh, we
Yeah.
didn't make the same mistake.
Seems
this time
like a
around.
nice enough guy. You got Pickett to Pickens. You know, if you get him a line, if you spend a top pick, maybe. But I don't know. Mark Madden's kind of trolling them on. This could be 2 or 3 years of 500 football. You can't fire anybody because everyone's doing good
he
enough.
trolls Mike Tomlin more than I think the Steelers as a whole. But I agree with that.
He
I'm with him on this.
Never
one.
had a losing record. Even
No,
this
I
season,
know.
he finished 9-7.
I know,
Like,
9
you
and 8.
can't.
Yeah, he can't. No, so.
Can't knock him.
Off the cuff.
I know how you feel about the last time we recorded, it was just me and Craig. We did like the first half of the floor fight. We're getting to that in a minute because me and you, I watched it live at the diner.
Yeah.
Just giving my color commentary.
We were talking about it.
The big news story of the week, Joe Biden.
Hunter Biden.
He has a secret. Apparently, you were on record when we found Trump and all his classified documents
Yep.
that we need to have an investigation. And
Yep.
you want to see everything that he took and why he took it.
I said that.
Well, it turns out that for 5 years, Joe Biden has been storing in downtown Washington, D.C. It's called the Penn Biden
I thought it
Center.
was in Pennsylvania.
No, it's Penn.
Oh, the Penn building.
It's a
in
D.C.
Okay.
lobbyist group that it's just access. I mean, it's next to a steak shop. It's about 1 mile away from the Chinese embassy, a couple miles away from Capitol Hill. So it's a place where it's like,
Greg Google mapped it and walked around a little bit.
if
There's a Chinese place on the corner.
if you're concerned about
Great sushi.
a former president having his stuff stored where Trump has Secret Service down in Mar-a-Lago. So it was safe there. There was no concern
The
of
VP doesn't have Secret Service.
not at this place. This place anyone could have walked into.
Yeah, but Trump still travels a lot.
But if he has it stored at Mar-a-Lago, it's secure.
So what did
They
Biden
always have.
Yeah, always Secret Service for the president at his home, all times. For his
Yeah,
kids, his
okay.
family. I mean, the
But
whole.
he's not a president now.
No, former presidents.
But he
Barack
still has
You
it,
don't
yeah.
think Barack Obama gets Secret Service?
Yeah, he still
I
has
don't
Secret
know,
Service.
do they?
Yeah.
I think for like 20 years
Okay.
or something.
Yeah.
Is it 10 or 20 years? Something like that.
I know a Secret Service agent. I could ask.
Depending
her.
on the position, I would think president for life. I think if you
No,
have a
it's
president,
not. It's not for life. I know at some point they do lose them.
like when would they cut Jimmy Carter? When would you cut his
Wow.
Secret Service?
It's probably something that's also
I
changed
don't.
throughout the years.
I think people
so-
stop wanting to assassinate somebody when they're long out of office.
Yeah, like do you really
Yeah.
need protection?
How's it gonna help?
I still think you'd have a bodyguard.
I don't know.
You'd have somebody.
He's gonna fact check it for
That's
us.
good. Let's see. Let's.
So what did they find at Biden's office?
Well, now we're having the debate over the theory. Right now, they said
Oh, Greg is right. Lifetime. I swear, I've heard that they don't get it for life.
senators. Like I can't imagine lower ranking.
It's got to be a lot of Secret Service agents that they need then. I mean, that's a lot of people you got to protect. You know, we're going to do former people like that. They got.
I don't think we should continue protecting them so long.
I guess. Do you stand with your position? Because I guess we can battle the semantics of the location.
Yeah.
But the basic question is does a former president, does a former executive official, Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Donald Trump, to what extent are they allowed to take classified information away from the
Yeah, I
skiff
don't know.
or the area where it's supposed to be secure?
It's just, I guess it all just for me still does depend on what it is, you know, and that's why I said what I said about Trump, because it's like, what did he take?
And-
Because I would have the same feeling about Trump. If Trump took some documents, like, I don't know, like how to even
Well, you could do some.
put this on a scale, but
you could do some Jedi mind tricks here. What if the documents that the Donald took were the stuff incriminating the Biden family?
That's what, yeah,
over in Ukraine?
that's what you could.
So if you're him, if you have evidence of election tampering, if you have evidence of FBI colluding against you, you have the Ukraine cover-up. You're just going to give that to Joe Biden?
Well,
I think I'm going to take a copy home with me.
There's a difference of taking potentially incriminating, files or whatever, that could benefit you. Like if you're trying to cover something up,
is there a
and you
difference?
knowingly go in there and you pull a file, is a lot different than I packed up my desk and in there were some classified documentation. Like, how innocent are you in what you did? Like, what was your intention when you did? Like, were these stolen documents or was it really just an oversight?
To me-
you know what I mean?
to me-
There's a difference there.
To me, I think since they've both been compromised classification-wise, we should get to see all of them. I think consistently.
the public.
Yes.
Oh,
They're not
well.
classified now.
I don't know about that.
Like the
but-
whole issue.
Well, no, that's what they were saying.
That's
is
their
that
whole issue.
They're claiming that it's not as bad because Biden's documents aren't classified.
Well,
Or not
there's-
as like I said.
there's a
There's
difference
5
there,
levels.
so
There's 5 levels of classification.
these were on the lower end.
It
So
also
they should be public then, right? If they're not classified.
My thing
Let-
is,
let us know what it was.
Should the Trump
if
ones
he
then be
removed-
too?
Well, no.
If they're not
the
classified,
question
yeah.
is the accusation from liberals is that Trump stole information that they could have used to lock him up. Is that he took incriminating
Yeah.
information on
Right.
himself and
There was
hid it.
intention. Yeah.
The counter theory is that he took ongoing investigations into his political enemies that were about to be wiped out once his enemies took over. In that instance, if you believe you were cheated and you were president during this,
You're keeping your copies.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I see what
Yeah.
you're saying, but
and I think more likely in
I
the
don't
in
know.
the Hunter situation, you have the Biden family hiding information that would look really bad if Trump would have came in and saw.
well,
it.
let me ask you this: both sides are going to obviously create a hullabaloo about the other one doing this, but in your opinion, do you think like anything's going to happen to either one? Because we can all cry as we want as Democrats and say Trump did this, Trump did that, but at the end of the day, I don't really, truly, in the bottom of my soul, believe that anything's going to happen to the man, you know, because he is a former president. So it's like, drag him into court and see what a judge is going to say. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, it would never get that far, you know. And same with Biden. You know what I mean? So he's the current president. So it's, you know, major differences there. So
One thing that it becomes pretty clear here from what I can tell from I watched CNN almost all day today because they're covering it. It's actually they're leading.
you asked what Greg did earlier. I told you he was
Yeah.
sitting there watching CNN.
They're finally leading with it. No, I'm talking for the first time. They're
Oh,
actually
yeah.
acknowledging that they're not so much concerned about the laptop, but every member of the Democratic Congress has based their impeachment hopes on Trump, on this case, on this moving of the classifications. You're not going to get him on taxes. You're not going to get him on any of that.
Yeah.
But the classified documents, we, as a country, I think we need to have a debate about the classification system.
Well, maybe.
Either way, what this does allow the DNC to do is to squeeze Biden out. They can't defend his laptop anymore.
Yeah.
Right now, is the whole issue with the laptop is nobody can prove that Joe Biden
Could they
was
have been
directly
planted?
communicating. If Joe
Could the
Biden, Jim
DNC have
Biden,
planted these on Joe Biden?
they could have. They could have. They totally could have.
Well, that was going to
And
be
a
my
fun
follow-up
fact about
question,
the
so.
Secret Service, before I forget, it was in 2013 they changed it to lifetime. It was 10 years
Wow,
prior to
okay.
that.
Okay.
Thank you
So
for that
what
update.
I'm wondering though
Great
is
distinction.
Jimmy Carter went 30 years
Yeah.
after his presidency, right? So
Yeah.
well, it'd have been 20 years at that point. So he lost his Secret Service,
Then he just died.
And then he had to get
last
it back.
couple years. Jimmy Carter.
right?
Well, predictions later. No, Jimmy Carter's still alive.
Oh, he's still alive.
Still
Oh, I thought he
He's not
died.
still
Like,
alive.
I thought he died a couple years ago.
Jimmy
I thought he
Carter
died.
No, we gotta check this now. I don't think
Ah,
Jimmy.
more
I don't
fact
think Jimmy
checks.
Carter's dead. The Queen died.
The Queen died. I thought
George-
I thought
George
it was like
Bush
2 years
Senior
ago he
died.
I don't think George Bush Senior maybe. A couple
Maybe
years
that's
ago.
what
That
I'm
might
thinking
be what you're
of.
thinking of.
Yeah, could have been.
Pretty sure Jimmy's still. Yeah, because they're saying he's the only one that could be the Biden whisperer right now. If someone were to go to Joe and say, "Just don't run,"
Yeah.
Jimmy Carter might be the only one
That could
who
go
could say,
in.
like, "Preserve your legacy. Don't
Okay.
go down like this." It is clear. I'm going to play a CNN clip here.
Yeah.
They're going. We were ready. We assumed you were ready to defend against the laptop. This damns the laptop case and screws over their case
Yeah.
against Donald Trump. So, I think they're going to decide to go with both.
He's,
I
he's
think-
alive as far as I see, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. He's older than.
It must have been George Bush Senior. I was thinking of.
Yeah, why did I thought he died. Yeah, it has to be George Bush.
Translate this here. This is John King on Inside Politics.
Hold on, I don't have my headphones on.
Oh, geez.
What happened to the other headphones that were around?
There were multiples. I think I'm gonna. All right, later, Austin.
Yeah, Austin,
Sitting
thank you for stepping
Didn't-
in here. If you want to do an episode one of these days, we can come earlier and when you guys are done, we'll do like a quick half hour or so.
It's up to Austin.
Talk about what it's like working for Craig.
I'm always down.
We could do a whole episode about that. What it's like.
We-
working
we've
for-
done-
could do a whole
we've
episode
done
on working
diner.
for Craig. Yeah.
We've done diner talk. We can do.
Shop
Could
talk.
definitely
Yeah,
do
shop
Shop
talk.
talk.
Shop talk. I
Shop
like
talk.
it. There we go.
Shop talk.
Uh,
Just do.
New
All right.
segment created.
Thank you for stopping in, Austin.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Later,
Nice
Austin.
meeting you too.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. You got your headphones in now, Alec.
I'm in. I'm ready.
Okay.
That was a great segue. Bought me some time. I
What
think you
happened to
need-
the other
I
headphones?
think you need to turn it on. Yeah, I
Did
don't know.
Greg steal them?
It's playing.
Oh,
Sorry, we were not prepared for.
Oh yeah, I put them down there because had wires everywhere.
Greg moved them. All right, ready for our clip.
We got volume.
God,
Documents that he says because they've been turned over. He doesn't want to know. Let the investigation run its course.
then we'll have more information because it's so sensitive. That's perfectly understandable, except we'll come to the politics of Trump in a minute. But this is an interesting contradiction in our own reporting because the president says he doesn't know. Most of his team says they don't know what's in the documents. But Jeff Zeleny reporting yesterday that a White House official did a call, no talking points, nothing in paper, but did a call with some White House allies saying, characterize the documents as fewer than a dozen. We do know that. Two people familiar with the call say, and then the person said, none of which are, quote, particularly sensitive, and, quote, not of high interest to the intelligence community. Well, if they don't know what's in the documents, how can they say that? So they're either making it up or they do know.
Or, right, they sort of need to resolve that at this point because I
CNN's
think
not helping.
You kind of need to know what they are to know how damaging or sensitive they are, and I think that's a good example.
You can't know how damaging they are until you see them.
In terms of the politics here, obviously we have talked ad nauseum about the key factual differences between this case and the case involving the former president. I do think Democrats need to be careful about.
There's Dem on Dems talking about what do you do here.
My take on this though is, like, let's just go through like a timeline of. I heard some like buzzing there. Let's go through like a timeline of how this news probably broke. Because if they were going to break this story, I'm sure Biden's team had
2 days before the election. So this is here's
lead time on this.
Here's the timeline.
Enough time to go in there and actually figure out what's in the documents.
First, to clarify something I said with Craig, I do not believe the DNC planted it. I think they knew about it and waited till now to actually enforce. Like, you can't do this. Like,
I think like all the presidents do this, and they're using it right now.
The way Hunter explains it on the laptop is this was just the same as the Clinton Global Initiative. If this was going to be a way that Penn, which has a lot of China money, could work with D.C. lobbyists on things going on in international politics.
Yeah.
So that's why it was in D.C.
Well, this
and
makes
it
you
wasn't
wonder
in
if presidents just kind of always do this. Like,
Tucker had a good segment about what we considered classified now, what we would consider classified 20 years ago, 30 years ago. We didn't have the internet is what has allowed us to have that much classified information and it be that vulnerable to foreign hacking. Before, when it's all on paper records, you're going to have to go and file through things real quick. It's not about just sticking a chip in a computer
Send faxes,
and walking out of a room.
Yeah. Right.
Maybe that's the key. Maybe that's why our founders had us all go to Washington. It's because communicating all at home is probably not the safest way to talk about sensitive.
And I think if you're talking things like back in the day, like, you don't really know unless you were there. You can hear things all you want. You can read reports in the newspaper, but like before you had technology, like you didn't know unless you showed up and heard it with your own ears.
Yeah.
You know, so
then we can talk about that the convention. But timeline.
So when they're getting the documents out of their houses, you're saying they're going in there and just getting like a memory chip.
Yeah. Yeah,
I did not know that.
It's just computer chips. Like,
I was also picturing some physical files here.
Yeah, I was still like,
it could be both. What we got
could be both.
With Trump, they gave us the big display. They put it out like it was a drug bust, and they lined it all out on the floor so they could send a big picture.
Yeah,
we didn't get that here. The story is 2 days before the election, November 1st, White House lawyers went to this Penn Biden Center.
Okay,
they went in a closet. They stumbled. They were just trying to move things out. They're closing up. All of a sudden, after the election, they're saying they got to close this thing up. It's a problem. Okay. So he sends his lawyers to go pick it up. Oh, God, they realize this is classified information. We got to do something with it.
Hot potato.
Joe says, I didn't know it was there. Don't show me. Keep it in an independent investigation. This is the day of the day before the election. Mm-hmm. Then they sit on it till now. They wait till after Congress is seated. Mm-hmm. And now, this to me, when I was predicting Joe Biden gets pulled,
this
knew is the first
about
attempt. The DNC.
They knew what was in there.
The DNC is going right now. We can take you out the same way that we're taking out Trump.
But I don't really feel like CNN like double reported there, as John King said there in your clip. Because
no, they're saying the White House double reported. The White House.
No, he was saying himself. He was like, we contradicted our own reporting here.
Yes.
So
the White House originally said that they know nothing about the number of classifications.
Yeah.
Then they came out and said, well, we do know, and we know that they're not sensitive. So either they knew.
They knew. They knew.
So, but that made CNN look like a liar, and I guess that's what John King's getting at is like, we can defend you on this round.
Yeah.
But now that you're kind of screwing us up with the other investigation, this draws the tie that the Republicans need between Hunter Biden and Hunter, Jim, and his father. It's a mutual, and Jill, and Val.
Like, why? Because they're all in cahoots over classified material?
Yeah. That's the thing is basically someone is leaving information so that another one can come in and take that information without them ever actually contacting each other.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's like setting up your own private room that like, we only have access to. I would come in here and I'd lay some classified. Let's say I'm working for President Joe Biden and I need to get this paper to Hunter, but I don't want a paper trail. I come here, like, because you still get classified briefings after you lose. So once Joe Biden was VP, he was still getting classified briefings. How does he get those to Hunter now? Hunter's whole computer's compromised. He's cracked out in the middle of nowhere. But you need to be able to get this to Rosemont Seneca. This is all related to Burisma. A war was going on in Ukraine. A lot of classified information. And the three things that they are speculating are in it is Great Britain intelligence, which should be the Steele dossier, and the fact that the DNC actually cooked the entire Mueller report. The other one is Ukraine. The other one is Iran. The Iran one, I'm not quite as positive why that would be important. Iran, Afghanistan is not my specialty. Ukraine, though, I know why that would be in there.
Are we comparing this, though? Like, are we trying to do an apples-to-apples comparison of, like, this Biden leak compared to the Trump leak? Like, is that the exercise we're doing right now?
To me, the Democrats are now in a position where they have to do both or drop it.
Yeah, but I think there's one important distinction that you're missing here is that Joe Biden is the current sitting president.
When he started, this is what's interesting, is he left office in January 2017.
Yeah, Trump, so they're saying these were files from back then.
Penn didn't start. I'm sorry, Penn Biden Center did not start until 2018. He had been holding these things in a separate place that we don't know. So that means he's trafficking it around.
But today, 2023, Joe Biden's the president.
That doesn't mean it would have absolved. So if then that logic, if Trump were to win the election, then it was okay for him to have taken the document.
Which is, I'm on record saying that on this show, that I believe.
No, I just say
80% of the reason Trump's running for president is so that he can pardon himself when shit starts hitting the fan. Because when you're president, you're immune. You're immunity power, right? I mean, you can't get, nothing can happen to you personally.
He was impeached twice. FBI investigations all the time. All your friends and family continually harassed with millions of dollars of legal fees.
Honestly, I don't.
He was never truly impeached, though. There was files.
He was impeached. He wasn't removed from office.
He was removed from office. Yeah. So and still nothing happened to him personally. He didn't go to jail. He didn't have to pay any money over.
The legal fees. I don't think you were accounting for how many people that prolonged Mueller trial to investigate all of those people. So every one of those people needed an expensive DC lawyer to sit with them, 2, 3 a team.
It's a tax write-off for him. He releases taxes. That's all it is. He's going to employ an army of lawyers anyways. You know what I mean? Like this is nothing new for Donald Trump. You know, he's running for office as an ace up his sleeve. Joe Biden's current sitting president doesn't matter.
I'm agreeing. I don't want.
Can the president kill someone
impeached
and get away with it?
That's a great question.
He can order someone to kill someone.
Yeah.
So
he basically has a license to.
But like if he pulls a gun out, he can literally do that then. Sure. I don't really know. Like, is there
commander-in-chief
anything? There's no recourse. Then I'm thinking about that right now.
Yeah, like, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, you are immune. You can get impeached.
If you shot, if you shot your AG,
if you murdered somebody,
like if Biden went, because this, I guess I didn't include this part. Merrick Garland is the one who's really in a pickle because he's the AG who would have got the report 2 days before the election, and he knows that he's investigating Trump for the same exact thing, and they no-knock raided him. Why did we need to go bust up Mar-a-Lago with video cameras tailing behind and 100 SWAT teams? But we got the White House lawyers, because that's who you send to move things. Normally, when people want to move an object, they call their lawyers to go do it because they're the best moving people. You only send your lawyers if you're looking for legal stuff.
Yeah.
You don't send your lawyers to move out of your apartment. Unless
the lawyers were moving their own stuff.
I think they're moving sensitive information. They don't want other people to
George's
see it.
Mezieres is no moving service.
28 ways.
Can't the Secret Service be trusted with that responsibility, following the movers around?
I think the Secret Service Union would have a problem with that. They are not moving men. Okay.
No, I'm saying you don't think they would be able to stand there and watch the moving men?
I don't know, but you're still risking compromise.
Joe Biden is very tight with his Secret Service. The whole Biden family is.
Really?
Yeah, extremely tight. Like to a point where he's picked them and they've been his guys since he's been the head of foreign relations in the Senate back in the 90s. And he's had his same guys. That's how Hunter never gets in trouble. They send a couple spooks, a couple former Secret Service guys to go knock on the door and drag him out.
Mafia
It's
style.
like he won't answer his phone. He won't listen.
Yeah.
Fixer.
Yeah.
Irish Mafia.
Yeah.
You send someone in, you send the big guys that have been loyal for life.
Right. They're not going to do anything.
And if there's one thing that the Irish are, it is
they've
loyal.
seen it.
They have an omerta.
You already know.
They have an omerta. Like
they're seeing what's going on because all your dirty secrets, you find a few.
Like if there was five
that you're gonna
Biden,
trust.
if there was 5 Biden Secret Service people and Biden like shot somebody in a back alley, you think anyone's reporting?
Well,
them?
that was-
you know what I mean. Like
I wonder if that happens.
One of the big issues was
Oh.
Hunter constantly trying to evade his Secret Service. Like it was a constant game,
It was a
especially
thing.
once they got off of president.
Yeah.
Then he had the option to say, I don't want Secret Service anymore.
Okay.
So that's why it fell off the handle so quickly.
Yeah.
Is when Biden's president, he can justify having his Secret Service,
Like
his whole
protecting
family,
him
because his
around.
son's a princeling. If he gets abducted, we're going to pay whatever. Like Brittany Griner, not make him sit over there for a year when he gets caught doing coke in Russia.
Yeah,
Like-
we can't let. Like,
No, you can't.
the government's not going to let
It's a
somebody
danger,
who's.
yeah.
bribe them.
It's a danger. Us having to
Yeah.
protect Harry. You know, if he was to be kidnapped, if the royal baby, if their kid were to be kidnapped, that's on our ground. We're paying for that. You think the crown's paying for their protection over there in
That's
California?
true. What's
We're paying for
What's
it.
the word for that? There's like you're looking for when you go to a different country and you're looking for protection. Trying to think what the word is. I'm derailing the conversation
Yes,
a little bit with it,
they get
you
the
know.
people get what you're saying.
asylum. They're
Yeah.
seeking asylum.
Yes.
They came to me.
Yeah, protection is probably the more regular way to put it.
Yeah.
Either way, once he was no longer vice president, Hunter was able to go completely off on his
what he
own,
wanted.
which is where.
Well, we talked
It
about
gets
that enough.
dicey.
What
Yes.
other stories did we have this week?
I was kind of angry at the way that Democrats specifically, even Republicans, covered the 15-round stick up
Oh, yeah.
that the rebels managed to pull out. Barely anybody's calling it a win. It's a win when
Well, he gave so many
the
concessions.
goal was
right?
to take power, get Kevin McCarthy as neutered as you possibly could.
Yeah.
That was the whole plan.
Right.
They successfully
Worked-
did that.
Worked like a T.
Wait, you weren't going to upset him. That was never the goal. I wanted them to go a little longer because I wanted to check people's stamina. I wanted to see how long. It's easy for 3 days.
Yeah,
to
I
still
wanted
be
to see.
enthusiastic.
I wanted to see the DNC start.
Let's go.
sending people,
Jerry
making
Nadler was
moves.
already sleeping. Half of the Democrats were already passed out in the front row, and you had to wake them up to just nod for Hakeem Jeffries. If they were the ones fighting and they were the ones sweating as AOC's trying to rally her, whip her crowd, it would be just as fun to watch. And the big news from it, Matt Gaetz put up the vote, C-SPAN coverage in the House. That means currently, when the House is a vote, the camera is on the person doing roll call.
Okay.
You just watch them read the names.
I think they should
Yeah.
put their phones in those Ziplocs that the comedians use
No,
with the key. I'm serious.
Oh.
I don't think they should be sitting there playing on their phones.
I want to see it.
But it makes it like you can handle sitting there for so long when you have the entertainment there.
Well, mind you, what Matt Gaetz was able to do is by using Twitter live, you can start pressuring other senators through Twitter and not have to worry about Kevin McCarthy's boxing you in a quarter. He could kind of go around him and go straight tweeting at Trump.
I get that
He could-
part.
That was his thing. Matt
Who's
Gaetz
this
is the guy.
Who's Matt Gaetz?
Matt Gaetz is a little bit. Remember Nick Rehak?
Yeah.
Kind of imagine Nick Rehak if he just like pursued a political career.
Okay.
I don't.
Isn't Nick Rehak our class president?
I think he was. Yeah, Nick Rehak was our.
You never-
Wow.
you never lose
Wow.
it, but
Yes,
yeah.
that. This is what. Yeah, this is Nick Rehak, like a little bit of a class clown.
Matt
Yeah.
Gaetz
If
nominated.
you don't like him, you don't like him.
Yeah.
But he shakes things up.
He's the one who
He's
nominated Trump. right?
Trump. He kept
And then-
insisting Trump till the end. And at
Yeah.
the same time, that's why I'm getting irritated because that's bad strategy. Like that was when they had 20 and then it went down to 8.
Yeah.
And Byron, the guy who managed to be the one that turned so many votes, kind of got left.
Why did they
Looking like a
Why do
loser.
they even let you do that? Like, why can't they just make it a straight runoff?
What do you mean?
Like, you have to pick one. Like, you have to pick between these two people.
Because before the phone, you can pressure people to the point where you can see how loyal they are to their vote.
No, I get
And you can
that,
get them
but
to sweat.
you do that in the beginning. But then after the 10th round,
Well, it's the
It's-
stamina
you
part
gotta
he's talking
vote.
about. It's the stamina.
yeah, but it's
how
just-
long are
it's
you willing to
dumb
keep
after a
voting for
certain
your
long.
person?
It's just like, okay, like at some point.
Eventually, people are gonna just
Because
say, "Hey, let's
you
get
get
this
the
route."
other vote. Like, you could always you could stand. You could not vote. Like, don't just make that not an option.
the goal of the extension
It's a good way to keep the government shut down, which is important.
for me, yeah, and that's where they managed to
That's
secure
what
that
it's like.
too.
If you did it like a runoff, then it would actually move. Boom, next order of business. We would have spent a freaking week on the House.
They managed to secure that too, though.
Pity pawing over each other.
One member of the House can do a vote of no confidence now. And if Kevin McCarthy can't get his 218,
Then they run the vote.
let's
of no
play this
confidence.
all
Yeah.
again, baby.
Well, you could
Ballot number 2.
You could always do a vote of no confidence. I don't think like
you
that.
needed half of
You
your
need
party.
half of the party?
They
Okay.
got it down to one member. And essentially, they were 6 of them.
Okay.
It started with like
after the one
a noble
member,
6.
But what happens after the vote of no confidence is called? You still need a majority to do something.
We got to go
about
redo
it, right?
this. We got to do. We just did again.
So then, if you get enough holdouts,
gridlock, baby. Like it's just like, and what my thing with the stamina, I guess. Why?
Now, wait, can Democrats do this too?
Yeah.
Can they call for the vote?
When they're majority.
Oh, sorry, when they're not the majority.
No,
they
can call it against Hakeem Jeffries.
Okay.
They could try and challenge him. That would never happen. We've never had it happen in the history of American government. We've never had a vote of no confidence in a speaker.
Really?
Yep. This is a British thing.
No.
This is something.
I was going to say, I thought
it's parliamentary procedure. It is not necessarily in our constitution. Does not write how to handle this particular situation.
Interesting.
It just gives the guidelines. The one thing that they say is 218.
Yeah.
Unless you vote to lower it or elongating it, what the DNC would have had to do is start sending members home. Because every member they send home would mean one less
person.
Republican
Yeah.
you need to get.
I
half.
have a question.
So they would
though.
have, and it just would have been painful for McCarthy to have to win on Nancy's.
Yeah.
A fellow Californian bailing you out by sending members home, which will look bad. That doesn't look good on your commercial. You couldn't stand it.
Does the minority leader have any actual political position, or is it just like a made-up party position?
Silly hat.
That's all it is?
Yep.
Kind of.
Like the Speaker of the House actually has like a role. Like they
set the agenda.
And they're the ones who put the bills.
I take that back. Technically, Hakeem Jeffries would be in charge of picking committee members.
Yeah.
The Speaker is the one who organizes.
It is an official, like, written in law. So what happens if another party splits it 3 ways? And they then have a minority leader. What is the law on that?
You're talking a 3-party system in Congress?
If it, it doesn't necessarily have to be.
Then
a 2-party
we have
system.
to do the multi-ballot. But no one's ever. This is the problem I've always had with the third party, and I'm glad you're bringing this up. Is they always run for president, which electorally you can't do, but you can run 5 or 6 members to the House.
Right.
And when you have a margin like this, if you have 210 Democrats, 212 Republicans, and 8 independents, you hold the floor.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to pull yours out, Republicans and Democrats are going to have to start hooking up to get past you. So you could essentially, if those 6 declared themselves independent,
you create a little faction.
That
can do things.
Then they either work with you. One of the party goes, "Okay, we're going to give you some power." It's kind of like what the Tea Party did. These guys kind of effectually.
Well, what I was going to say
did
is,
it this round too.
And you see it in like
independent party is my dream.
If we're going to go like the Europe model, like you have like 9 parties, and that's basically what it is, right? I mean, you have 2 main, kind of like Democrat, Republican,
they have 3
liberal,
factions,
or
and then you have a couple.
And then I mean they're
anarchist
they're set up as separate parties over there. Here it's kind of you have the 2 main parties, but then within the Republicans you have your Tea Party.
It took them 1,000 years.
You have different factions within the bigger parties, so it kind of the same thing still sort of happens, I guess.
Theirs is a 1,000-year system too.
Yes.
Like our country, if you're looking at it in the grand scheme of dynasties, is we're an infant. Or no, we're a teenager.
Yeah.
We're kind of like now going through our hormonal raging left and right. Like you don't know what's going on. A third party would do a long way to calm down that tantrum. Then you can't have
the
Fox
internet's the way it can happen, though.
It is. And someone like
a big name person could easily
Patrick Bet-David could go find his crew could just run 4 seats as House of Representatives members.
I don't even think you have to put
Joe
a party.
Rogan could get in on this.
I don't even think you have to put a party
definitely
on it. I think you just run as an independent and do well.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, you're going to need media help. And Twitter, people like Joe Rogan and Patrick Bet-David, just by having them on their podcast, will get them just as many clips and media advertisements as $10 million from Kevin McCarthy could ever get you of ads that are useless.
Right.
Like you think about what he gets you is there's no image adding because he just looks like a slime ball. He holds his money over your head like it's like they were actually threatening, like, "Oh, Lauren Boebert, you took money from this. Gates, you took his money." You have to take his money. What are you going to do? Not give it? Like, you have to support the candidates that you run. Like, what kind of iron? That's the worst way to. In a country that wants to get money out of politics, it's the worst thing in the world to just have fundraising be the sole standard for giving a speaker. And that's what it has been. Nancy and Kevin, it's California big tech money.
Welcome to America, baby.
They get all the Google bucks. They get all that garbage from California, and they pass the houses back and forth. So
I'm going to have to leave in a couple of minutes. Is there any rapid fire subjects you want to do before
predictions?
You and Craig
do you want
to
throw any predictions going into, like, I'm predicting Joe Biden will be either killed, resign, or impeached within the next year. He does not by 2024. Not only is he not running, he's out of office.
I still think DeSantis is getting the Republican nominee. I don't know.
You want to go out there? I don't have a prediction on that yet. I guess we won't know whether or not he's going to win will be a decision for 2024. You think he's going to run?
No, I think he's going to run.
He'll announce he's running. Now,
I think he's going to win the nomination.
Has he announced
nomination?
His governor speech was a presidential speech. It's one, and he's dodging Trump. He's not engaging with them, which is really the only strategy. You fight him, you lose. As long as you can keep saying like.
What does he do when he goes on a debate stage with him?
So that's the other question I have for you, Alec, is if DeSantis does get in, I think the only way he can win is a one-on-one. If Rick Scott, Marco Rubio, if you get that Kasich idiot from Ohio, if you start getting...
Idiot? I thought we loved Johnny K around here.
Oh, a long time ago, before he sold out to CNN. A long time ago, before he became a CNN...
sold out to Fox before
CNN
then.
never-Trumper. He was just a CNN never-Trumper shill.
Okay.
You don't get started on
Well,
Johnny
you'll
K.
never get that in a nomination. You'll never get a 2-horse race. We
used to all the time.
Kind of.
Mitt Romney... Yeah, we're talking, if we go back to Obama, it was Biden, Barack, Hillary Clinton, and a fourth that was irrelevant. It just ended up being Barack versus Hillary after about
Well, you always have early
rounds.
people coming
Bernie
in.
and Hillary was just 2. It wasn't until the last 2 Republicans won that we got 17 and 26, respectively.
I feel like you always have at least 3 or 4, though, like viable
Three.
candidates.
I think they weed themselves. Like Joe Biden always debated himself off the stage before he ever got to really the primary process. It was like one of those. He told too many lies on the trail to actually keep him moving forward.
Primaries are coming up, though, right?
Should be.
Yeah.
Should be. I gotta get on I'm waiting for the DNC to drop their rule book. We should be getting the call for the convention anytime soon here. I don't know what the Republicans, since Trump didn't have to run against anybody. Are we doing the delegate thing? Are conventions back on?
The Republicans don't know.
What's the deal? Yeah. Do you have any other sports? Do you want to do Super Bowl?
Oh, that'd be a good prediction. I still think the Bills are going to win it all because of the story. I think the DeMar Hamlin thing just makes it
That's what I think too,
it
because it's
happen.
fixed.
Right.
What is your opinion on the TCU blowout?
Oh, well. Big 12. Just, I guess, shouldn't be a big conference.
He just drops a bag of weed on the table on video.
Are we on video? Forgot about that part.
Oh, wow. That's a perfect exit. That's a perfect exit there, Alec.
But the TCU thing was bullshit. I mean, I don't know.
Buffalo, should they have played or shouldn't they have?
I don't know, man.
You got to be a populist and say what all the nice people on all the major networks say about this being the unifying moment of the year. Or you could be Skip Bayless and me.
Yeah.
And take the. I don't like. This is a bad precedent. What if this is a playoff game? What if this is the Super Bowl?
I think a lot of people would have the take of as it was happening. Yeah, you got to cancel it. But then
not when your fantasy football team's dying on the vine, watching all your players just get gutter balls.
I think this is a retrospect thing. Like in retrospect, yeah, they probably should have played the game.
The next day, just resume it.
Yeah, the next day I think would have been
once
fine.
you found out he didn't die.
You know what I thought
what
I thought was interesting about that whole scenario is how hard ESPN pushed for the game to be canceled.
Oh yeah, and
they had you know who
Matt
really
Chef crying.
Booger McFarland is really the one
for an hour
that made this decision to cancel the game. If we're going to be honest about it, because there was so much public outrage after they put him on the television.
Did you see any
for
of
20 minutes
coverage?
to say,
I don't watch the TV.
Normally when you get an injury and you got someone down, like people on their knees, they cut the commercial 2-3 minutes, come back. You see the person on a cart being rolled off. In this particular instance, they put him in an ambulance and just went to ESPN to speculate.
Yeah.
And it's like looking at the picture, you couldn't look at it and say it was a hard hit.
Right.
You couldn't. All you could really say is there are things bigger than football. There are things bigger than football. I'm like, yeah, gambling. Gambling is bigger than football. You're screwing gambling right now. I get why. I just my thing is, and what the NFL. The question for them is when this happens moving forward.
Yeah.
Are we ever just like lockdowns in this country? Are we ever? Because to me, that's like lockdown behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what do you mean we're just not going to play because it's not safe anymore?
What made it so difficult is like he literally might have just died, and we didn't know.
There was a player that
nobody
died.
would know.
A player had died on the field, but it wasn't a televised game.
Yeah, right. Exactly. This was a Monday night game. That's what I'm saying. Like this was, this was something. This was a bigger deal. So it's. I think this is a classic. Like at the time, I think everybody saw why it happened, and then in retrospect, I think everybody was like, "Yeah, we probably should have finished the game."
So the next time, if this happens this week in a playoff game,
oh yeah, I don't know.
What do we do?
then I'm really blaming the COVID vaccine. Then,
and I didn't even go. You could go farther than Skip Bayless. You could go full Tucker Carlson and go. He was just vaxxed on December 27th.
Yeah.
4th? Really?
Yeah.
You got to be kidding me.
You're a Bills fan.
Gotta
You think
be
they're winning?
To me, on one hand, I see what you're saying about the storyline.
Yeah.
But since I'm not buying this storyline as much, I'm kind of viewing it more as
Eagles.
no. I need to see how much heart the team has.
Yeah.
On one hand, I could see a Buffalo, San
But see, I
Francisco,
think
like
it
old
gives them-
school 1990s.
It gives them more heart. We're playing for Rudy. You know what I mean? Like, this is it. Like, this is a rallying call for them. And
What?
Buffalo's been down and out for so long. They obviously deserve a championship.
Them and Philly peaked early.
Yeah.
On that note, yeah, of course Buffalo deserves a championship, but that might be the curse of the city. That's another one where if you question the heart, Pittsburgh does not accept losing teams.
No.
Buffalo threw a parade
Yeah.
for the kicker
Yeah.
after he missed his field goal.
Yeah.
After he missed his second to win a
He would
Super
have
Bowl
been
field goal.
He would
Scott
have
Norwood.
ran out of Pittsburgh.
They threw a parade
Yeah.
for him, and it's like that just says a lot about Buffalo. They got big hearts.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're strong hearts. I don't know if we're a little soft. That's my. That's
They're
my.
not connected to the brain.
That's my concern. But at the same time, only Buffalo fans go out in that kind of weather. Like you're talking
Yeah.
one of the toughest stadiums
That's what I'm saying.
to
Not
play,
connected to the head.
and they don't have the home field advantage. Which I think I don't know if they're going to be able to march into Kansas City
and
beat them there.
Well, that's going to be the rematch of the century right there. But
So I guess
if the Cowboys win, I'm just quitting football.
So-
I'm just throwing that out
I'm
there. now.
going to pick San Francisco beats Kansas City. That's just easy. I mean, I'm sorry. There's a big disparity in the league this year. What I would like to see is Tampa Bay or Philly versus Buffalo. That would be my ideal Super Bowl. I just don't know if Buffalo can win three.
Philly
can
Bills.
put three in a row.
Philly Bills is the Super Bowl, I think. So
It would be a good one.
or not Phillies? Did I say Phillies? Eagles.
Eagles,
Sorry.
Bills.
It's got the sports teams. mixed up.
Eagles, Bills. Okay.
Yeah, Eagles Bills. That's
You want to throw out any predictions here? That this isn't your. You want to comment more on Craig was going because he knows to try and antagonize me because college football doesn't not do as good of numbers as the NFL. He tries to say it's bigger. So he's going, oh, the NFC Championship, it's the biggest game in sports history after he just made that argument for soccer. After we just did this with the soccer game, it's like, okay, I'm looking at this game. This game is trash. Like, this is a garbage football game. It's not the system's fault. Sometimes you just get two teams that don't match up. And this was watching a professional team versus a college team. How can you say it's the game of the year?
Yeah, no, that game sucked.
We had a big bet. Craig was watching 5 minutes behind.
Yeah, that
and
probably.
Alabama jumped out right away, and he's trying to go like, I'll give you TCU outright. It's like they're already down 14, Craig. I want 27 points.
No,
if you're
I
gonna give
wasn't
me
saying TCU. I was saying I would give you TCU. Yeah,
outright, and it's like I'm looking at the spread, and I'm like, if outright, you're paying me like I'll bet $2 to win 100. They're down 14 right now.
Yeah, the game didn't even start on my end.
No.
I was 20 minutes behind. I must have like paused it to go like change Cash's diaper or something.
It was like, I was like 15 minutes
And
of
then
just the
Alec
conversations.
goes-
No one understood what was going on.
Alex says, George is already doing good. And I'm going, how does he know what George is doing? Like, is there that big of a delay?
That's what I thought different languages.
Yeah, I was
like-
so confused. And then I realized I was just really far behind. Fast forwarded.
I don't like a 25-year-old. This happened. Matt White, I think his name was in Oklahoma back when we were in high school. A 25-year-old quarterback.
What's wrong with it?
I just feel like if you are good, like you should be in the pros or not be playing college football.
I think you should be allowed to go make your college football attempt at any age.
So you think like right now,
If you think a 30-some-year-old has an advantage over like a young 20-year-old
mentally, yeah.
mentally? Oh no, I agree with
and
that.
I think even when you watch Denson play,
But-
he
But
looks
college
like
football is your
already an
audition for the
quarterback.
NFL. It's an
Yes.
audition for the NFL. You can go back to college at any time for anything else,
And-
but you can't go back to college and give it another go at football.
And dude, and to be correct, you have 4
Or
years.
any sport.
Well, you have 4 years of eligibility. But if I went to 4-year college and then I go back, I would still be able to do like if I go back for masters
I think I could go back to school right now as a 30-year-old.
and be a kicker. Like if you want.
No. I mean, I can't go play sports, but I can go back to school. I don't think I'd go in the dorms. But
Why don't you think you'd be able to play sports though?
I thought there's an age limit.
I thought that's
on
what
the NCAA.
we got a 25-year-old.
That's because they gave them an extra year of eligibility because of COVID.
an extra year. We're talking. You go into college at 18. An extra year would still be 23. 25. I mean, you graduate usually around 22.
Well, you could start a little late. I think, but there is an age limit.
I actually thought Matt White might have been like closer to 29, 30.
29-30.
And I thought for some reason I also think a
Another
singer.
thing I thought I knew, but it's not right. There is no age limit, actually. So you can go back.
I think there was a rapper or someone who went back to school really late just to try and play football. Or and someone might have tried to change sports. I'm not positive.
No, Division One.
Golf.
Different.
No, it was golf. Someone went to try and become. Alec would know that.
Okay, so Division One athletes are required to enroll in school 1 calendar year after high school graduation, and then they just have 5 years to complete a typical 4-year
So
degree.
if he graduated at 19, let's say 20, then that could get you to 25.
Yeah,
if you took a year off, or if you were redshirted.
But like, I don't understand that. Like, why if like you?
Okay, that makes sense.
You know what I mean? Like,
maybe.
if you because you can go back to school to be anything at any age.
Yeah,
There's no.
but
you can't go back and play.
I was always thinking
sports.
like kicker. Like if you dedicated your life for a year,
Yeah,
to be
you
a
could,
kicker,
like,
could you
probably-
not go and probably be a starter on a team?
It might take more than a year, but yeah, I feel like
If you're just like a soccer player, if you're someone who already has a leg, and it's like you just
Yeah,
gotta
maybe
get
you
used
had,
to
like, a
kicking
little
a
bit of-
football, some direction, like
figure out where to hit the football.
just do a lot of squats.
Yeah,
Jacked up legs.
or like maybe you played rugby for a really long time, and now you want to go and
Yeah.
use your kicking as a punter.
I don't see any reason.
Why not? Like, I don't see the big deal with that's confusing rule to me.
No.
Always has been.
And this is just I don't care with. It's fine that he's 25. It just to me looked weird because he looked like he was.
It does look weird when they're older. People
Yeah,
are there.
it's just he's so
How
much
often is an
smarter.
old-
Almost it looks like than everyone else on the field.
How often is somebody that age gonna
The-
like you? Maybe a quarterback you could.
You
could do it,
The
but-
last I remember is Matt White. He's an Oklahoma quarterback from when we were in high school.
Now I can see having a limit on how many years of eligibility you get because you don't want a professional athlete coming back
Yeah,
and playing
yeah.
the sport.
Which wouldn't even really make sense. Why would you go not make?
Well, now you got NIL deals. You can make. You'd be the first.
What's that Penn State was saying about paying everyone the same thing? Was that you saying that?
They're-
They give like 60,000 to everybody.
They're like trying to get the boosters. So they have these programs where you can donate money in packages to the players. I was seeing, and the players will do things in return. Like they might like do a video call for you, maybe
Oh,
an
like the
appearance
cam things.
based
Okay.
on how much you're gonna pay, and you'll get like merch and it has all this. Like you're purchasing something, but at the same time they're using that money to pay the players who come and play at Penn State. So
Who's going to be Clifford's replacement here? Do they have one lined up, or
Drew,
they
Drew
got?
Aller, he's a 5-star recruit.
Okay, he's going to be a freshman starter.
No, he was a freshman this season.
Okay, was he redshirted, or did they actually have him?
No, I think he had to play enough.
Okay, cool. Do you think he's going to be good?
He's supposed to be.
Okay.
I mean, he looked pretty decent out there, but of course he's playing with the backup, so his players aren't quite as good as what he'll get with the starters. You know, when his targets wise and everything. But it looks like we've gotten some good wide receivers who've transferred in, and the recruiting's been really good. Looks like some guys want him to be their quarterback. So.
There you go, Penn State making a run again.
And that's all you got to do now in college football, it's going to be hard because some of the schools are going to be able to just like revenue-wise for their players through the roof.
The SEC is just always going to dominate.
Mm-hmm.
The weather.
But if you
You're a
can
great
like,
player. Where are you going to go?
but if you can get a quarterback, so if you can put a bunch of
Yeah.
resources
Yeah.
behind a quarterback, wide receivers who are possibly good enough but haven't got their chance yet, and they're trying to go to the NFL is the long-term goal. If they would then choose the school based on who's going to be throwing me the ball.
Well, no, and the weather thing is a good argument for like what I was thinking intuitively would be most good players are going to want to go south where it's warmer. If you know you're good, one of the big knocks on the Dolphins this year is they have a bunch of Alabama players that can't play in the cold. Mm-hmm. So it's like, well, they've never played their entire lives. They were born in the South. They play football in the South. Now you're going to go up in Buffalo in sideways snow. You're going to get walloped. And it's like Tua, their quarterback, has not won a game under 40 degrees. Great quarterback. Mm-hmm. Once that temperature goes down, it's so different to play when you're cold. Mm-hmm. If you're playing for a team like Penn State, you get that training. Yeah. Probably why they have better defenders. And that's why their main focus coming out is like the linebackers. Just because they're used to playing.
But I think the idea...
You don't want to be cramping up in the heat, though, either. That's at the beginning of the season.
When they wanted to do the NIL deals, I think it was more like just getting the players paid for, like, video games.
Yeah,
and, like,
their
their merchandise and stuff. The idea that people can just now sponsor them to come play for a certain team is what I don't think they wanted to happen.
I think it was what everyone knew was going to happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, how do you stop that? If you're going to let them get advertisement spots, it's just going to be, I'm going to pick the players who play for my team, right, when it's college.
Reggie Bush and Terrell
But that's
Pryor.
also kind of cool, because sometimes I don't like how the NFL just makes everything on a level playing field.
But yeah.
It's kind of nice if, like, your supporters or what have to get behind the team.
But one thing that's nice in the NFL is you can have a team like Jacksonville go from first overall pick to winning the division this year. Mm-hmm. Because if you work your cap right, it puts a lot more power, or you need a good GM. Mm-hmm. It's not just the coach. It's like you actually need someone who's looking at the money, and it gives everyone. No one can just run away with it because they can buy it out. Mm-hmm. So it's like it doesn't make as much money per se than as a baseball team. As far as I think it generates more gambling, more fans, because there's a better chance you're going to be in it. You get that one quarterback in the first round, maybe that's the one piece you need. If you have a good quarterback like Chicago, now they can go get a lineman or get something to protect him. Mm-hmm. Get him another piece. So it's like I like the salary cap. I kind of wish the other leagues could figure out a way to still make sure players are paid well, because you don't want to make it that they're not getting paid what they should and they're getting so much more in other sports. Mm-hmm. But if every team's spending similar, keeps everyone involved. You're not going to have just teams like the Pirates. It's like there'll never be a baseball market here, just because we cannot afford it. And it's like there's no way you can just out scout the Yankees. Oakland Athletics did that.
But
once.
The Pirates do make a fairly good amount of money. They're just choosing.
Oh,
to spend
yeah. They don't.
So that's just the way you're owned.
They don't reinvest in the brand.
Right, but I like the way like Green Bay is just owned by the fans.
Yes, Green Bay's cool. Green Bay, they missed it. What a game!
They missed the playoffs, right?
Yeah. They were winning it in. Detroit beat them by 4. That was my team. Had Seattle lost earlier, they would have made the playoffs with that win. Winning like 8, a whole bunch down the stretch. They were looking so good. That's what I'm disappointed about. I'm trying to think if there's any. I guess I lost my notes. So I'm trying to think of topics off the top of my head that we haven't really got a chance to get into yet. I told you about
Andrew Tate. What do you think the deal is with that?
I haven't heard anything since it was proven that he wasn't arrested because of the pizza boxes. The original thing is they thought that they got the address from the pizza box, and that's how they found his location. I know that he was then.
But what is he being charged with?
Sex trafficking, sexual
For sure.
assault.
I thought it was tax fraud.
Could be that. I mean, I'm guessing usually that goes with all that.
You think it's true? I don't know.
I didn't know that he made all his money off cam girls. That's
how he made his money.
When he was saying that if someone's his girl, he deserves half of their OnlyFans money, and it's like that he was talking like he was a virtual pimp, and that's what he was.
He was. Wait a second. Anytime somebody says girl,
what do you mean girl?
What did you say about the only? I missed the middle part.
He basically got in on the early days, but before like the OnlyFans, and managed to organize a bunch of women where he had guys that would be willing to pay for their content. They signed a deal with him that they'd give him 50% of whatever they make.
What's the difference with that and Pornhub?
It's not as long as you're not keeping the girls against their will.
Yeah. If he's doing it like
or it's stopping them from making more money or something like that, like operating like a pimp. If you just have consenting women that want to pay you to organize an online community that's willing to pay them, I don't see any problem with that.
That's what I'm wondering.
As long as it's all voluntary.
I just want to know what was going on.
Yeah, that's just one of those. It's like when I hear that, it's like that is not a good sign of.
But don't you think there would be a lot more victims?
Because you'd think that there'd be a bunch of people speaking out. Yeah. So everyone's innocent until proven guilty. The fact, though, that they managed to. What country was he in again?
Romania.
Someone has it out for him. Well, what do you think about him saying 2 days before it happened?
To Greta.
No, before that was the day of that he attacked her. But before that, he was like, the Matrix is after me. They're sending their agents or something. And it's like that. So when you say something like that, are you covering your own ass because you know you did something wrong and you're trying to tell everyone in advance, look, I'm predicting it? Or if everyone's after you, you're not paranoid? And that was just him being like he had a feeling, and the Greta thing was really unfortunate timing because apparently he initiated that. That was all just him just deciding to send.
What does he mean by the Matrix?
You never watched the Matrix?
No.
Wow. Okay. Let me try and give you a Matrix philosophy. In the movie, The Matrix, everybody is plugged in. They're in a little pod, and their brain's plugged into a machine.
I think we talked about this before.
Once they're in that,
you use this analogy with the chips. The only thing I know from the Matrix though is them like doing the diving backwards.
Well, see,
from
what happened, that's leaving the Matrix. When you're in the Matrix, that's when you have the thing stuck in the back of your head. When you have that, you walk around in a world where everything is basically kind of how you like it. It's all organized and structured and really run-of-the-mill. It's boring. Mm-hmm. You don't have any, basically have no personal freedom. You give that all away for comfort. Well, at the beginning, there's one guy, Neo, who was deciding that, I'm trying to think of what was the original cause of why he gets a call one day from this guy named Morpheus that says the agents they're coming after you. Mm-hmm. He's like, what are you talking about? He's going, you have to go to the window now and do this or they're going to catch you. All of a sudden he looks up, bunch of federal agents storm in the building. So he runs around, he manages to meet up with this Morpheus guy. The guy says to him, you have two options. You can take this pill and leave the Matrix and no longer be subject to the rules and the agents of the Matrix, or you can take the other pill and just forget this all ever happened and just go back to your everyday thing. He took the red pill. That's where the Q references did heavy Matrix. When they say someone's been red pilled, that's where they've unplugged from the deep state, from the establishment. They're thinking for themselves. They can dodge bullets because they're no longer confined.
So those are all Matrix references. Then I didn't know.
All in a certain way. It's a little overplayed. Like the movies came out in the late 90s.
Yeah,
and there's a trilogy. You probably like. You're not a big movie guy.
I don't like movies.
It's an action movie with philosophy mixed in. So I really liked it at the time. I still like it. It's been overplayed so much, and the analogies can get a little corny after a while. But the concept was, Morpheus tells him that the agents are coming after him, and now they are. And how do you unplug from the Matrix? I don't know. Joe Rogan, did you see the episode where they talked about joining his? He's a class online. The top G, where you can pay him like $50 a month. They were going to pay it, then realized they were going to end up getting sued by him if they showed his material on live camera.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't say that, but I realized quickly, Joe was like, oh, God, no. If we start reading his material on live camera, we're just... Because he was going to pay.
Yeah.
Sometimes he does that with subscriptions. Yeah,
I forgot how he didn't.
Yeah, they just looked at it. I think they just looked at it.
Or did he cut the camera? Maybe he cut the clip. Maybe they went through the whole process and then he just cut it.
I think so. I think because I was watching, I'm like, I'd like to see this too, but I'm not paying $60. But that's what's tempting about it. They don't want Joe Rogan to pay $60 and 15 million people get to see it. Yeah. So whether or not we'll see. He's tweeting again. I'm glad he's still allowed to tweet. He's one of those. I mean, everything I say, everything he says, I try and listen to the whole thing and then pick out what I don't agree with and try and differentiate if there's any common sense to what he's saying, or if it's just an act, if it's just a shtick to sell Top G, which is kind of what I thought it was before this. The fact that they arrested him, to me, either means that he is doing something illegal, or he's a danger to them. And if that's the case, then I'm a fan. I'm a fan of all people that are a danger to the deep state.
How would he be a danger, though?
His message.
Just his message.
The tackling of Greta,
they do keep him off all social media.
Self-empowerment, toxic masculinity. And that's his shtick, is he goes over the top with the toxic masculinity thing, which allows his detractors to clip him. So that you can just play small sound bites like, if you're my girl, I get 50% of your OnlyFans. Like, what, you don't own your woman's OnlyFans? And it's like, well, back in the day, he did have I don't know what you call it, besides it's like an online pimping. And OnlyFans has just basically taken over and empowered women to do it, or men, to do it all. Just give the site a small cut, not 50%.
I mean, not necessarily just your girl, but if you're married, I mean, half of your money goes to her. So if she's doing OnlyFans, if they're married,
I feel like I wouldn't want. If she's just I want enough money that I don't need my girlfriend on OnlyFans. But what if she's making $10 million?
Yeah, but he has multiple wives, so he's able. Like they're rich, but he pulls money together.
What's the deal with that? Does he really have multiple wives, or is it multiple girlfriends?
I think it's just girlfriends, right?
I don't know that.
And he says they have to be virgins too.
You can't say things like that, and then you get called a terrorist.
You get called a terrorist?
That's where that comes from when they say it about him. It says 99 virgins.
Apparently, I think he says
terrorists are willing to kill. I know that's where when they criticize him, they'll call him a domestic terrorist. If they want to keep going with this, that's what they're labeling him. They called Virginia teachers protesting lockdowns terrorists. Yeah. What do you think this guy is? What do you think we are under this logic? Anybody who advocates questioning the status quo is a terrorist to currently the Whoever's running this country, who's ever running the social media books. Twitter's the only one that's letting us talk, which I'm getting closer to just making my regular account a blue check.
Why don't you?
Because I wanted it to be the other account. This account's...
You can just change your name.
I can change my @
Yeah.
I thought that's permanent.
No, I'm pretty sure you can change it.
And it would still count for the 3 months? I wouldn't have to go back to...
Yeah, so your account.
Because it already has confirmed that my phone
is
attached to it, so it doesn't need to prove whether it's real or not.
Right. I think the goal is they just don't want people to go get 5 phones, and you have to make a commitment to it if you're going to just have another account check mark.
There's a project I got for tonight.
Because I think they want the check marks really to be people.
Yeah, the whole goal, the way it'll have
how do you
value,
do that? You could just ask for real ID.
Essentially, I thought I suggested on the show once that we have brick and mortar social media places where you go and verify your identity. Where you have a place in Greensburg. It doesn't have to be a big place. It's just one that you go you get your DMV. You go get your social media. It's how tall are you? They measure you so they know you're not lying. What color are your eyes? Have a professional picture taken. You can still post all your other stuff, but at least have some. This is a citizen. Then it would be of a lot of value politically. If you could prove, when he does these polls, and he could tell how many
and you have to go down
people are weighing in.
Do you have to go down to the social media center to get a new profile picture? No,
that's no. You would need one official one where that we can guarantee that this is sticking on your page, so people can find your face at some point. What you change it to at any other point, I think it's whatever. But you could have it. You got to go. But
a lot of people don't even want to put their identity out.
How often do people change their Twitter profile pictures? I don't really remember anyone doing it. You kind of just go and take one, and then you post pictures on your feed, but you don't. Every time you post a picture, you don't change it to your profile.
I changed my picture a few times because I used to be the white Mexican.
Yeah, that was it. And you wouldn't have any of those for paid accounts.
People didn't engage with me as much then, though.
I don't know.
Because it was more obvious I was trolling, and now I have a picture of me skydiving. People engage more.
The old Mexican one did not even look like a real account. If I didn't know you, I would have thought it was fake. I would never have thought it was a real account. Anything time you get a name and 5 numbers.
Like a robot?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the point was that I was just trolling people.
And that I assume that bot farms...
I still am trolling on there quite a bit, but I'm behind. It's myself.
I'm assuming there are these deep state bot farms all over the world in third world places that just create, they have one person on an old computer creating 10 accounts, and they just are told to everything sent to them over and over and over again for an hour. Then you have ones that are just supposed to send this spam attack on accounts you don't like. And that's the new virtual army. If you want to try and affect Ukraine social media, buy a couple bot farms. So you can shoot down anybody. COVID, you want to suppress COVID? Let's get a couple Chinese bot farms that censor everything and call anyone a racist who insinuates that this might have been a lab leak.
Well, I'm sure they can just have the computer do it themselves.
That was the other story.
Unless it gets tripped
AI.
up. Unless it gets tripped up by the little how many fire hydrants are in these squares.
A bot farm of AIs. Mm-hmm. So it's you don't even need the person there anymore. You don't got to feed them or do anything. It would all be happening. How these guys, Mr. Beast? I don't think people watching those videos. I don't think they are. They're not good. They're not entertaining.
Dude, they're I've watched a couple of them. They're pretty much like game shows, and people watch that stupid stuff.
No, but they're not game shows. They're not game shows.
They're pretty much the same thing.
But
I agree. I mean, they're kind of ridiculous.
I like game shows. This does not give game shows to me vibes at all.
What do you mean by game shows?
You compete against other people.
Like when they're locked in a house for a long time.
I wouldn't. I consider that a reality show. I wouldn't call that a game show. Like Big Brother. I wouldn't call it a game show.
So he's more like a reality show.
Okay. Yes. It's
on. So I assume people who watch reality shows like Mr.
Okay.
Beast.
And I guess I'm not a reality TV guy for the most part. I'm trying to think of any reality TV that I watch. The news. I think that's as trashy of reality TV as you can get. If you really just want to watch some trashy reality TV,
I think Mr.
watch
Beast,
CNN try and cover Broker Convention.
Mr. Beast understands the algorithm, I think, pretty well.
Prediction I'll make: Mr. Beast is Bill Gates, one of Bill Gates' many children.
What?
I think Bill Gates has hundreds of kids around this planet, hundreds of them. And all you'd have to, if you have these bot farms, you can prop up anybody. And if you could do that for your kid, wouldn't you? Again, that's what I always wanted with social media. Is let's say my nieces are twins. They're fraternal twins though, so they don't look the same. So they're constantly competing with each other on social media on who's getting more likes, and inevitably one feels bad. If you're a parent, is there any way that you could pay to balance out the likes? Not thinking of the more evil way of suppressing information or amplifying propaganda. I'm just talking if you want for your kids to make them feel like they got 1,000
It'd be
followers
obvious,
apiece.
because the likes would be coming from people they don't know.
Aren't they anyways? How many people do you know, or do you know like you see once a year that you're friends with virtually? Or are they just someone you met in a lifetime, maybe 7 years ago, maybe 6? You keep in touch, like you follow what they're doing, but you don't actually know them.
Yeah. I mean, the regular likes, though, like all those people I pretty much know.
You think when
People who like my stuff consistently.
when you're getting okay,
Just a normal person.
So when you're
like, I'm not a celebrity.
when you're getting 1,000 likes, how many of them have you seen in the last year?
When I get 1,000?
Yeah.
Usually when I get 1,000, it's something that's like viral. It's like an off. I'm talking like you're steady, like 20 likes probably a picture is for me. Okay. Well, like girls get a lot more.
I'd say like 100 looks like when you have a stable account. Like that's like it's like this person's getting 100 likes. That's a pretty solid amount.
Yeah, on everything they post.
Get pictures.
On what? On Twitter?
I don't.
100? I think most normal people are like maybe 50 range. Like people who are like have a decent following.
See, I was thinking you're big once you're at 1,000.
Yeah, if you're getting 1,000, you're pretty big.
I'd say if you've done Twitter for 5 years,
I would say
and you're not like an idiot like me, you can get to like 100.
I'd say
likes.
if you have a few hundred.
A few hundred, you can get a couple 100 likes.
I don't think I'll ever get there because usually the people I'm engaging with don't like me.
If you're using it as a troll, yeah. It's like no, and I spread no Twitter is not a place to spread positivity in my mind. It's a war zone. It is a place to fight political battles that you can't otherwise fight on other
platforms.
on other platforms. Yeah, it's the only place you can go to do it. And it's like you never really know if you're fighting with a person. This blue check kind of solves that problem. So
I don't know because like Ryan is pretty. He's on Twitter a lot, and I think he has a lot of people looking at his stuff.
Ryan likes everything.
But he'll occasionally have like a tweet that like blows up.
When you like something.
But what is his like average likes? And I would say he's the best at Twitter out of all of us.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Oh, definitely. But when you like something, like when Ryan likes something, does that make it pop up on my feed? Or does it only pop up if like 3 or 4 people that I follow all like something?
No, if he likes it, yeah. Because like when you like stuff, it pops up on mine too.
I'm sure why I don't want to overlike. Because I don't want it just to be popping up or like crowding your feed out. But I want to send positive like.
I think it pays attention to if you're engaging with that tweet. So like if he's liking stuff that you don't typically.
But you don't comment
about,
or retweet it.
Like you just never even like really pay attention to it.
No,
I think it even pays attention to how long you're like sitting over the tweet.
Okay. That makes sense. Like if you click into it to read it and then you just press like.
Usually my feed is pretty political, but during like the college football playoffs, I was really trolling some TCU fans, and all my stuff changed to like college football.
I love that. Mm-hmm. Isn't it the Taylor Swifties do that too? That would freak me out. If a bunch of people are coming, everything, stop it.
And it was funny because I thought I was gonna switch and start messing with the Georgia fans.
No, TCU fans.
Oh, and I thought I was gonna mess with the Utah fans, but it was like the TCU fans were just the ones that kept going. But I don't know if Twitter just kept putting that in front of me. You know what I mean?
No, yeah.
Because the other fans were like I started giving some Utah fans some crap about like, oh, another Rose Bowl loss for you guys and stuff, and they were just all like, we don't care, like we'll just be happy to be there. So it's like, no, that's no fun. You guys are boring. You go to the TCU people and they're like fighting for their team's name. Like you don't talk. It's like you don't talk bad about our team. We will give you every reason in the world why we're not bad, why we're here now.
Always engage back.
So that's fun.
They can't ignore it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And they're also all hiding behind fake accounts. Like I'm like one of the rare ones that actually has my name on it.
True.
You know.
One last thing I wanted to, because I had some stuff on COVID. I think because they're trying to run it back, and we got that Jimmy Fallon video of him singing the Vax song. Yeah. I got a whole Neil deGrasse Tyson. Mm-hmm. They've just been really talking a lot about it. We could do a probably short Conspiracy Village just to update everyone on COVID, because I don't think anything's necessarily coming back. It's interesting to see the people who are trying to and trying to figure out what are their motives for trying to incentivize us. Some type of, remember, we didn't lock down originally until March. Mm-hmm. And it was because there was this strange variant of a flu that came from China. We don't know. Yeah. They're doing it again. But I just think everyone's fatigued of it. So I don't see, right now it doesn't look like it's holding, but it's worth putting on the radar because before they locked down the first time, they talked about it for about a month. We watch videos of China acting ridiculous, going, we'll never do that here. Would never be like that. Next thing you know, we're spraying down groceries, letting them sit outside of the house, waiting for sun to clean them. It's like it got wacky really quickly. Alex Berenson, and that's why, to transition from COVID, back on Twitter, they gave him a Twitter file.
Yeah.
My favorite to date. And it was just him
I was surprised by that because didn't Elon Musk block him?
No, he was blocked before. He had he won the original lawsuit against Twitter.
No, I mean I thought Elon Musk himself blocked Berenson. I thought Berenson he tweeted a picture of Elon Musk's profile and saying Berenson was blocked.
He might have accidentally, but he gave him a Twitter file.
Yeah.
I know Elon was having an issue at the beginning where they were accidentally blocking people. And it's like people got reinstated.
No, Berenson wasn't blocked by Twitter itself. He was blocked by Elon Musk himself, like from Elon Musk's profile.
I wish you don't know why.
There's been I don't know why. I can't remember what he was going on at that time. But I've noticed a lot of people do tweet that.
What?
That Elon will block them. Like if he doesn't like what they're saying about him or something, or he doesn't want to see it.
Everyone has a right to block people.
I'm not saying he doesn't have a right.
Spend it. It's just not letting someone talk.
It just shocked me that I remember seeing Alex Berenson post that, and then he now has a Twitter file.
That is very odd.
But he's not blocked anymore because Elon retweeted something from him.
He's due for a Rogan episode coming up.
How recently did he do one?
I want to say, when he beat Twitter, they had like a bottle.
That was recently though.
It was in the beginning of last year. It was about a year ago.
That wasn't a year ago. That was fall, wasn't it?
Check when Alex Berenson lawsuit against Twitter.
No, I mean when he did Rogan was recent, right?
I thought it was pretty recently after the because there was like a champagne pop and vindication.
Time does fly, so you're probably right.
Yeah, it has been.
Seems like time.
And Berenson, he's been through so much. I'm glad to see him finally.
The Wi-Fi the whole way down here is hard to get. My phone's recording, so
that's not the biggest deal in the world. I didn't have many updates with it. It's just he gave basically his recount of how they tried to ban him the first time. Not block, ban.
Well, no, yeah, I remember he was banned, but it only showed me the 2021 one. It hasn't been that long, has it?
I mean, I think this was the first year of the Biden admin.
Really? It's been that long since he was on? 2021?
Let me see when
it's 2023 now.
Let me see when. Remember, it's just 7/23. It's 1/23. So if it was December of 21, that would still only be a year and two months ago. I'm trying to show. What would I search here? All right, let's check the Rogan episodes.
His most recent one was August 2022.
Okay.
It's on his website. It's much easier to find.
So that makes sense, though, in that he wasn't right after the thing happened, but I guess he's not due for one, probably for a couple months. Anything else
so
you want to
August, probably like summer. I think he lets him come on once a year.
Yeah, usually.
He has like a few of them that it's like they know it's like once a year.
Jordan Peterson.
He pulls on some of his friends a lot more often, but yeah.
Weingarten. Oh, what's his name? The
Weinstein.
guy. He was just on like 3 days.
Brett Weinstein was.
Yeah. I always like when he's on.